Hey y'all, thanks for joining me today. My name is Sarah Smith and I'm an athletic trainer for Bon Secours Mercy Health. I work at the high school setting and I also teach 10th grade. The picture on the screen right now is everything we've kind of been feeling through the pandemic, and I thought it was fitting to use it with this presentation. So today I'm going to be talking to you about your mental health during the pandemic, also some strategies and tools to keep your mental health in check, because it's kind of hard some days. So much has changed and we weren't ready, especially me, was not ready for all of this. This is why you may see my sister's name under my face, because neither one of us could figure out how to split a screen on a Chromebook so you could see the presentation and my face. I wasn't ready. So even though we're going into phase 3, things are opening up, things are starting to get better, I'm going to take it back about 6 months. It was a Thursday in March 12th to be exact. I was teaching one of my classes. We had an announcement over the intercom at school, and our world kind of stopped in its tracks, came to a screeching halt. We were told there would be no sports, no school for 2 weeks. Some people were stoked. They were so excited, like, "Ooh, no school." And then our athletes were devastated because their spring season was getting ready to start. So they're like, "What are we going to do? We're going to take a 2-week break. We'll be back, hopefully." The state basketball championships were canceled. That is a crushing blow to a team who has been playing all season and working towards that. So, we go home, we hunker down. 10 days later, we knew there would be no more school and sports for the rest of the year. Mind blown. No one would have thought that. We did not know we'd still be dealing with this 6 months later. And we are still dealing with it, and we will be dealing with it for a while. So we're going to have to figure out how to get through it and be healthy and keep our mind healthy. And there's so many questions, and there are not that many answers. And this can be really hard to deal with and to take in. I'm going to start with your family. You have so many questions. Okay, who am I allowed to be around? Do I have to wear a mask? What if one of us gets sick? When will this end? What if my whole family gets sick? What if I lose a loved one? Not good things to think about, not easy things to think about, but we all want to be safe, so we have to always keep that on our mind. What about our friends? How many of us can hang out? When will we be able to go places and chill, and it will be safe to hang out? I miss my friends. You probably miss doing the things you're used to doing. And then we have school. Whew. All I can say about this is I get it. I understand. I am with you on this one. I'm a teacher. It has been a nightmare. Learning new learning platforms, teaching students you don't even know, trying to learn the technology that is insane because I'm old. I didn't grow up with all this technology, so it's a lot harder for us. Constant grading, constant looking at a computer. I don't know how you guys look at screens all day long. As a student, I can't imagine what you're going through. Having to learn a different learning platform than you used last year, and having every one of your teachers have a different way about you trying to find your assignments and different due dates. And, you might have a lot of devices at home that have to be Wi-Fi at the same time. You might have siblings that have to do schoolwork too. It is very frustrating for everyone. Parents, I'm with you too. I don't know how you do it. You either have to work all day and come home and make sure your children have gotten their schoolwork done, or if you have to work from home and try to help them, more power to you, because it is a tough situation for everyone. And then we have sports. When will they return? Will we end up having our season? It's scheduled. Are we going to end up having it? Will we be in shape? Are we going to be competitive? We haven't been able to work out for a while. And then another area is home life. Lots of questions. What if a parent lost a job or is struggling to make ends meet, provide meals, pay the mortgage or the rent? What if isn't the safest place for you? What if home is not good for your mental health anyway, and now you've been quarantined and kind of stuck at home and isolated, and maybe not the best, safest situation? What if you have to take care of your siblings every day and make sure they get their schoolwork done before you can even do yours? So much you have to think about. And then there's your future. What is the future going to look like? Will it ever get back to normal? Semi-normal? There are just so many questions, and it keeps our heads spinning and spinning. And that's how we try to process it. I like to say COVID is kind of like a dark cloud over our heads. It's always there. It doesn't go away. It plays a part in almost every decision we make. And sometimes it's hard to see some of the light coming through the clouds because it just clouds back up. And it's like we can't get away from it. And we can't, because it's here and we need to do what's right and be safe. But we also need to make sure our mental health is okay, because in a crisis, and when you're in crisis mode, you have a lot of extra stressors and anxiety and some depression. Again, sometimes I say it's like our world got shaken and turned upside down, kind of like a snow globe, and all the pieces are just kind of falling where they may, and we're going to just try to make it through. And then there's the whole social distancing thing. This is the tough part. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a hugger, and not having the human contact. I mean, I love hugging my athletes, my students, my friends, and that's been hard. And that's just a simple thing. But social distancing, we know that it's necessary. Some people handle the isolation that social distancing brings better than others. Like if you're an introvert, you have probably enjoyed being at home by yourself and not really being bothered by a lot of people and doing your own thing. But then there's some of us who are having a really hard time with it. Because we crave that human interaction and we haven't had it like we're used to. When will we be able to return to what will be our new normal? We don't know what that's going to be. It's definitely going to be different than our old normal. Social distancing also has forced you to change your daily routines. You haven't had sports, and when you don't know what the unknown is, trying to figure out life without sports, it's hard to prepare for your future if you don't know what that's going to be. It can be a very scary, uncertain time. The Sports Injury Bulletin states that due to social isolation, you may feel less prepared for sports. You may feel as though your competitive edge is gone. You may be worried. That may make your thoughts somewhat catastrophic. Not the greatest thoughts, kind of in a dark place. You may be socially isolated, lonely, or depressed. Very, very normal. You may be disconnected from your social networks and your healthy outlets. That might have been what sports in school was for you. You may be emotionally vulnerable if you know someone who has become ill or who has lost their life. And that's happened to a lot more people than some of us realize. You may be lost or confused as to your life direction and you're worried about your future because, we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen and when things will get back to what we're used to. And then what about sports and possibly the future? Will we have sports? I know I'm talking mostly to athletes and parents, so I'm concentrating this most on, what you're dealing with. Will we have sports? If so, when will that happen? Because some of you have started working out in small groups. Some of you are going to be starting in the next week or two. Maybe your plan is to go to college and hopefully get a scholarship and be able to play in college, maybe go to the next level. Will you be able to get recruited still? Hopefully we will have the shorter seasons like they have anticipated, but will the recruiting still be there? Will it be safe for us to play and travel to other teams? We don't want to take anything back, to our families, but sports are such an important part of your lives. What if participating in sports was the main reason you came to school, or you pre-pandemic? And that's what kept you going and trying to keep your grades up so you could play. Is that going to change the way you handle this virtual learning? Because it's already hard. And, you know, sometimes that was the spark that some of us needed. Sports, athletics was the spark that we needed to get into school, to go to school every day, and to be successful. I do see a typo in my presentation. I apologize for that. Will you have to change your future goals or plans? Hopefully not, but you know, it depends how long we go without athletics. Try to stick to your goals and your plans. But who are you without sports? Another typo, you can tell I changed my thought in this. My bad. If this is the main part of who you are and what you've been striving for, where does that leave you? That's a tough pill to swallow when you're trying to figure that out. But we're going to get through it, like I said. It's a lot to think about. Sometimes with all that thinking comes anxiety and depression and a load of other emotions. But this is what we do know. During this pandemic, you may have experienced stress, anxiety, fear, loneliness, loss, a whole lot of other emotions, okay? We do know these are normal emotions for what we're going through. Mental health disorders such as depression and anxiety definitely can worsen during a pandemic or in a crisis. We do know that we're all in this together. We are in the same storm, going through this together. We may not be in the same boat, and what that means is we all have our own situations we're dealing with, but we're all trying to get through each day the best we can. And the emotional roller coaster you are feeling or may be feeling is real, and you need to know that it's okay that you're feeling this way. You need that validated, because that's important. You know, you don't want to sit there thinking to yourself, am I crazy for feeling this way? No. Some days I'm not okay. You know, it's just things you have to do to try to help yourself. And that's what I'm going to get into next. So what can I do to help myself so I'm not too stressed, anxious, or depressed? I found a lot of great information, and I'm going to highlight some of the common key points. So the National Alliance for Mental Illness suggests these following areas to concentrate on. And the NCAA also had this on their website for their student athletes to help them deal with COVID-19 and their mental health during a pandemic. So space was the first one. Now, like a workspace, to my students out there, if you can find a neat, it doesn't have to be big, a neat, organized, dedicated space to work, you know, like a little desk, a corner in your room that doesn't have chaos and clutter, it's going to be so much easier for you to concentrate and get your schoolwork done. If you're sitting on the couch with the TV on, it's not going to be that great for you. Parents, if you're working from home, the same thing is a great idea for you. Dedicate your own area where you can focus and try to get away from the madness that's probably happening in the other room. If you can, it doesn't have to be big, just a dedicated area that you can take for yourself. The next one is routine. Establish and stick to a routine. Teenagers, self-care and hygiene is key. Make sure you're showering regularly. Make sure you're brushing your teeth and using deodorant. Make sure you're changing your clothes, getting out of your pajamas. Routine is so key. We hear it everywhere, all the different places I was looking for information. Routine. Schedule in meals like you would if you were at school, and brain breaks. Schedule in activities so you can get your heart rate up. Definitely schedule in some downtime too, where you don't have to think about everything that's going on. You can just clear your mind and take a deep breath. So get a routine, establish a routine. You know, pre-COVID, you were in a routine, and then COVID happened, and the school year slid into summer. Well, summer, our routines always kind of go out the window. And then school starts, and you're right back in it, like it never left. However, this school season, it's different because you went from being in your house to returning to school still in your house. So you have to get that routine going to get your brain functioning and feeling better, and just overall good stuff going on. The next one is activity. So here's what you have to remember to my athletes. You were used to working out on a daily basis mostly. Maybe not every day. If you were in season, definitely. If you were out of season, you probably were still conditioning some with your team or travel team or whatever you were involved in, okay? So your body was used to being challenged, your heart rate was used to being elevated, you were sweating, your body, your brain were creating these happy, feel-good chemicals, serotonin and dopamine. Those are things that make you feel really good. Like after a good workout, you just have this great feeling. You call it the runner's high. Also, runners get it after they're running for a while. Just these neurotransmitters just kind of put you in a zone and make you feel really good. Well, these help you deal with everyday ups and downs of life. If you're used to exercising and producing these chemicals, then the benefits of exercise that you are getting, it's great for your mind, body, and your soul. You know, you deal with stress better, you deal with your moods better, you don't get as agitated, and you probably didn't even realize that was a normal thing. And then you kind of stopped exercising and you were kind of stuck at home. You might have felt like you were a little edgy or not yourself. Well, your body's not producing those neurotransmitters and those good chemicals like it used to. Nothing wrong with that. It's just different than how you're used to living. So it's a big change for you. And that can be tough. So make sure you find time for exercise. Make sure, because with decreased physical activity, there's a definite increase in anxiety and depression. So you want to be mindful of that. The next area is time and energy management. And what they mean by that is they don't want you to overwork or underwork a certain area. So you don't want to spend all day on schoolwork, all night on games, and not get enough sleep. Or you don't want to spend all day sleeping and not spend enough time doing your schoolwork. So you need to have time energy balance and make sure you get stuff done that you need to get done. Accessibility. Make sure you let people in and let them contact you. Like, make sure you don't have your phone turned off for days. People that are close to you, your family, your friends, coaches, your church family, anybody like that, like, be accessible. Make sure that, of course, take time for yourself, but you don't want to isolate yourself even further, because sometimes that can lead to a darker place. FaceTime and connectivity was another area. I'm grateful that if the pandemic had to happen, it happened in today's time with technology, even though it's a blessing and a curse. But the face-to-face interaction that humans crave and need, you don't have in a pandemic. But with FaceTime and your other visual types of connectivity, it's very easy, or I should say easier, to feel connections with people, and not just talking or texting, like face-to-face, seeing your facial expressions, seeing you, you know. So FaceTime and connectivity are very important. And then remember your support system that you had, okay? Who it's been. Like I said, whether it's your church family, whether it's your regular family, whether it's your school family, whether it's your sports team, they haven't gone away. They're still your support system. You just might have to reach out to them in a different way because you're not going to be seeing, you haven't seen them face to face like you're used to. But definitely remember that and make sure you still have your support system in place for when you need it. The Mayo Clinic suggests that you need to take care of your body, and we know that. This includes getting enough sleep. Try to get 7 to 8 hours uninterrupted, without your phones, without social media. Get that deep, deep sleep, you know, that beauty sleep. Rejuvenate your cells. Get physical exercise. We have talked about that. Eat healthy. Here's a big one. You may not have any control over what food is in your house. Like, you might not get to make any of those decisions, and that's okay. But if you get to choose what to eat, try to eat healthy. And I don't mean like a salad every meal. I mean the comfort food, the starchy food, the fatty food. You eat enough of it, you start feeling sluggish, like you don't want to get off the couch, like you're not dirty, but you know, you just feel kind of gross and run down. Well, when you're not exercising and you're kind of at the house, sometimes pounds start to creep on too. So eating healthy will help with that as well. I know some people's pants are a little tighter, a little snugger. Some people have been able to work out and kind of keep some type of routine, but it's different for all of us. And it's okay. We're going to get through it. Avoid tobacco, alcohol, and other drugs because remember, they are not good for you. They are illegal. And once you come down from your high or your intoxication and you're sober, guess what? You've probably broken a few laws. And so you might even be in more trouble. That's no good. Okay. Now, this one I find funny. Limit screen time. Well, we are in the virtual learning world. I even had to buy blue screen glasses because I'm on a computer all day. But limit your screen time after school. Like if games are the things you do to relax and unwind or play on your phone, just try to limit the time a little bit because we don't want you getting migraines and headaches and all kinds of stuff that comes with staring at screens too long. And then relax and recharge. This is a big one. Find something you love that relaxes you. Me, it was concerts. They're gone. But music relaxes me. It's going to be different for everyone. Some people like doing puzzles. Some people like doing crafts. Some people like doing TikTok to relaxing or dancing. Some people like reading. Some people like yoga and meditation. Some people just like being outside in the sun on your face. It is going to be different for everyone. But find what does that for you, what relaxes you, what recharges you, what makes you feel like you can get up the next day and do it all again. I will tell you from my personal experiences, I bought a stand-up paddleboard in June. I love it. I go out as often as I can. Now, when the water is getting a little colder, I might have to stop. But it was a good workout for me, but it was also good stress reliever because I could just think about everything going on and process it in a healthy way and try to figure out how I would complete each thing I needed to do because there's always a to-do list. They also say, take care of your mind. Keep your regular routine. Limit exposure to the news media. That can drag you down. That can put you in a funk if you watch too much of the news because it's not the greatest stuff happening in the world. And if that's what you're constantly seeing, it's going to kind of put you in a funk. Focus on positive thoughts. There have been silver linings. Try to find the silver linings that are going on. For me, it was hanging out with my parents and my family a lot more. Time I would have never had if I was teaching and doing sports medicine. And I won't get that time back, so I'm grateful for it. So try to focus on some positive things each day. And then use your moral compass or your spiritual life for support. That's always going to be there to get you through. And along with taking care of your body, the Mayo Clinic has also suggested to connect with others, make connections. We thrive off human connections. Do something for others. You could support a family member or a friend, get help when it's needed. Definitely important. I will tell you that through this pandemic, my mother and I made these like oversized cupcakes, and we took them to all the elderly women in the neighborhood, and the look on their face that someone had thought of them at that time, you can't forget it. It's a great feeling. So doing something for others makes you just sometimes feel really good about yourself. And in a pandemic, sometimes it's really good to feel good about yourself. For parents, the Association for Applied Sports Psychology suggests maintain awareness and initiate action if needed. Okay. Try to be a positive role model. I know it could be probably really tough trying to stay positive all the time, but if your children just keep hearing negative things, that's going to have an impact on them. Encourage self-care, grooming, taking care of themselves. Take care of yourselves. Creativity, meaning making. Try to make things meaningful. And like I said, take care of yourself too, because if you are not okay, then you're not going to be able to help anyone else. And please reach out for help if needed. Remember, it's okay not to be okay, but if it's too overwhelming, reach out. Focus on what you can control. Try not to worry about what is out of your control. That's really hard to do. But if you have no say in the matter, then you don't want to waste all your worries on that. There are enough other things that you'd probably be worried about. Try to take one day at a time. Know that if you can make it to the end of the day, you did it, and it's going to be okay. Know that you're not alone in this, and it's okay not to be okay. We see it on TV all the time. They're showing lots of commercials and things on mental health because they want to make sure you know it's okay to ask for help if you need it. And it's great that athletes and pro athletes are talking about it, because the more you talk about it, the easier it is to talk about, the more normal it's going to be. And so if you're having issues and you know it's a normal thing, then you're more likely to get help. But be mindful of what is typical and what is not. So if you think you need help, I put a few websites up on the screen. American Counseling Association, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, CDC, Mental Health and Coping, Centers for Disease Control, Coronavirus Crisis, Staying Safe, Smart and Kind. Those are just a few. The Mayo Clinic states that stress is normal, but in a pandemic, the stress you are feeling may push you to your limits and beyond your ability to cope. Now, I'm going to let you read the next sentence because it's really long. But just know, if you're having a lot of this stuff going on and it lasts for several days in a row and it makes you miserable, it's time to ask for help. You know, you can only take so much on your own before it's too overwhelming. Just like a bone, if it has too much stress on it, it's going to break. You know, when you break a bone, hopefully you haven't, but when you break a bone, it's because there was too much stress on it. If you have too much stress in your mind, you have to get help from somewhere, because sometimes you cannot handle it on your own. And once again, that's okay. Sometimes that is normal for some people. So some options: call or use social media to contact a close friend or loved one, even though it may be hard to talk about your feelings. If you get it out, feel a little better. Contact a minister, spiritual leader, or someone in your faith community. Get your parent to call your physician if needed for guidance. Parents, contact your employer. They may have counseling or can refer you to a mental health professional. You can contact organizations such as the National Alliance on Mental Illness or the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services admin. If you're feeling suicidal or thinking of hurting yourself, seek help from someone. Please, please, please. We need you around. You call a suicide hotline in the US. It's 1-800-273-TALK. You can text HOME to 741-741 to connect with a crisis counselor. And I just want to reiterate how important it is to take care of yourself, to make sure you're doing the things that you can do to help whatever situation you're going through. All those different strategies about your routine and your area and accessibility and connectivity will help you get through, hopefully, the social isolation and distancing and things that are going on. Remember, be active. Please try to get that exercise. Find something that relaxes you. Be kind. Everyone's fighting a different battle that you may have no idea about. So I hope you got something out of this. I hope you got some tools and some tips that you can take with you. So if you're having darker days, it can help you maybe, see the sun coming through the dark cloud just a little bit. And I want to thank you for joining me and watching this session. Please fill out the survey link on the Bon Secours virtual training page, and stay safe, everyone.